Okay, welcome to Stationeers. This is going to be a simple getting started tutorial, and in it I'm going to take you from a simple survival box to a 3x3 base. Alright, let's get started. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to take our iron frames and our iron sheets and going to quickly mark out a spot for the future base. And boom. That's all we need for now. So I'm just going to quickly weld these up so we can stand on them. Okay, and that's the foundation of the base setup. So what we're going to do now is quickly put these away so we have some empty hands. And we are going to go on a mining trip. For the first thing we're going to want is to gather some resources so we can actually get the necessary machines we need to survive. So I will do just that. So after equipping our mining belt and our mining tool, we're just going to go searching for some resources. Okay, the sun is rising on day one. Yeah, technically it'll be day one. Um, so let's get started. So we have our resources, and we're going to start processing them now. So if you're paying attention at all to the sun or whatever, or the way it travels around the sky, you notice it kind of rises in this direction, kind of lingers around the sky in this direction for a bit, and then sets. So we want to capture as much as that we can with a single solar panel. Um, so we're going to do just that. We're going to angle it towards where the sun will be for most of the day, I want to say. Or at least a good chunk of it. It's only a basic solar panel, so it's no big deal if it isn't exactly right. So we're going to set up our little power controller here, and this will just capture the energy. Oh, it won't capture the energy itself. It will hold a battery that will capture the energy. Um, so let's get a arc furnace out of our starting supplies and some glass. Just going to fit that glass to the solar panel. Put it back for safekeeping. I'm also going to clean up my inventory a tiny bit. And if you notice, we've now got a power low icon and a water icon, a drinking icon. Now, because we're in normal mode, we're not going to be able to um, drink or eat without our helmet being off. And I don't know if you noticed, but having your helmet off in the middle of Mars probably wouldn't be the best idea. If we take a look at our tablet right here, we'll see that it's quite a not a very good time. Quite not a very good time. There you go. So today we're going to just process our materials and set up a little shelter. A little breathing and eating box. That's all it's going to be. And it doesn't need to be anything fancier. So let's go back into our crate real quick, and we have a spare battery. We're going to put our old battery into our little area power controller, flick it on, and we're going to get processing our materials. If I can find them. There we go. Flick that on and get it going. It's okay the solar panel isn't facing the sun as it rises, because it's only there for, I'm not going to say a short part of the day, but it's definitely not there for the majority of the day. So we'll keep it for there for now. Okay, while that's working, we're going to start setting up our little breathing box. Because the way the new update has come out, I believe the starting base setup has changed a bit. Because airlocks no longer kind of work too well. I'll show you what I mean in a moment. it makes the setup a bit different, but it can still be pretty simple. So we're gonna go for a bit of a cheap and cheerful method, just keeping it simple. So we've got our frames right here, and we're gonna weld them up. If I remember to bring my iron. Now, unlike the ones on the floor here, we're going to weld these up to be completely full. Okay, that's done. So now we're going to pop down a door real quick. Oh, I've noticed our iron's done, so we're just going to put something else in the oven. We'll get some of our copper smelting. And now we're going to set up it's going to look a bit weird, but trust me, it's just how things work now. We're just going to set up a little zigzag of pipes. No, that won't do. Now you might be wondering what the point of these are, and I'll explain things in a moment. But because of the short version is because of the new update, things relating to atmospherics and stuff like gases in pipes have changed. And because we don't start with a passive vent at all, it's something we need to take into account, at least for the short term. So we're going to take our active vent here and just hook it up. There we go. Let's have a look. Now we're going to want our doors. So can we find our doors? There we go. And we're just going to put down the most simple of doors. Doesn't need any wiring or anything. Super simple. And this will be our bit of a breathing box for when we want to, you know, eat and drink and whatnot. So what do we need for this? I think it's just iron sheets. Oh. Okay, so this is basically a breathing box. Until it's welded. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. That was it. I'm used to these being orange, but that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to first make sure we've got some food and drink with us. That's cool. We're going to close the door. And what we're going to do is, if we had power, we would run this until we have a vacuum. And it'll basically suck all the air out of the room, into these little pipes here. And we could then fill it with our own atmosphere from the mining belt, which is some of this oxide here. But we can't do that because, well, because I haven't put the power connected. So let's just do that real quick. The copper's done, so in a moment we can, start processing some gold. Gold takes the longest, and I recommend doing gold when you actually have the sun shining down on your solar panels. Otherwise it can be pretty taxing. There we go, we've got gold going. So what we're going to do is we're going to shut this, and we're going to pull out a vacuum. Oh, a tiny bit of a vacuum. We need a smidge of air, an absolute smidge. Let's have a look. We're going to drop some oxides in here, and it's just going to fill the room up a bit to make it at least pressurable. Pressurable? Is that a word? basically we can breathe in here just fine now. So we're going to pop off our helmet, have a sip, have a drink, and there you go. Now, if we just ran out of this room right now, we'd lose this little atmosphere we've got, and we don't really want to do that. It's best to try and conserve resources when you can. So, what we're going to do, we are going to set this to inward again, close our helmet, remember to lock it, and just vacuum up the room. Remember to turn it off, and there we go, we can just leave. Now, the reason this is a temporary solution is slowly, as we pull out the atmosphere and pull it back in over and over, eventually gases are going to start building up, and these will start, I see there's liquid in these pipes already, so these pipes are going to start taking damage because we've got no way to vent it to the outside yet. So what we're going to do now is we've had our drink. We're going to use our resources to build us the hydraulic pipe bender. So let's get started with that. Oh, it looks like the sun's going down, so I'll just lay the foundations for the auto lathe, and then I will meet you tomorrow. Okay, the temperature is going down. That means the sun is rising, so let's get to work. Oops. You don't have to wait until the sun comes back up. I'm just doing it for the sake of the tutorial. So we're going to wire up our machine real quick. And if you're not an idiot, you will wire it up correctly like I do. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is feed our iron, gold and copper into the sides. And we're going to get started on building the hydraulic pipe bender. So let's have a look. There we go. Now, I'd say we typically, before the update we'd wait for this. Because it wasn't much of a big deal if you had like an overpressurized pipe or anything like that, because you could just work around it. But liquids can condense in gases can condense into liquids now. So let's just give an example. If you left this door open overnight, you might have noticed liquid condensing in here, and the reason it would do that is because the outside shares heat with the pipes because it's uninsulated. So what would happen is you might find that your pipes burst or something. It's all quite variable, and it's not something I really want to pay too much attention to, because why bother when we can simplify things? So the days just started. We're going to put more of our materials on the barbecue. And let me just double check what we've got. So let's just take stock real quick. Okay, this is the editor speaking here. I've got a bad case of the hiccups, so I'll make this quick. I waffled on for far too long, and yeah, it was all completely unnecessary. So let's just talk about the starting equipment you get. This oxygen tank will last you quite a while, and the only thing you really have to worry about at the very start is, I'd say, water, funnily enough. Because you burn through water faster than you do any other resource in this game, and if you don't have a means to replace it, then you are kind of screwed. We do start with some extra water, so if you are like very stuck and you need some water real quick, there is some still on the lander, and if you burn through all that and still don't have a means to get water out of ice, then you have a super emergency backup with this thing. Um, this is like your last lifeline, and it won't last too long at all. But it will serve in a pinch. Anyway, rambling aside, let's go and see how our pipe bender's doing. Oh, we have one. That's great. So we're going to go through the setup of building a machine again. Okay, so we have our hydraulic pipe bender here, and it's time we put it to work. So the first thing I'm going to build is going to be, well, let's see. First thing I'm going to want is a passive vent or a pipe cowl. You can build either one you like. Passive vents are just more aesthetic to me, at least early game. So I'm just going to place it there. That'll be fine. We're going to want another active vent. Which we will place here. We are then going to want, let's see, we're going to want, oh, another passive vent, because we'll need to vent to the inside. There we go. So we're going to put that just there for now, and it'll make sense in a minute because we're going to open this up. So with that set up, we can now begin our the construction properly. Well, the construction properly. That doesn't make any sense, does it? We can now begin building an actual like habitat that won't kind of just suck. Before we do that though, I'm going to take this opportunity to close the hatch, open my helmet, and as you can see it's whining at me. So I'm going to pressurize the room for a minute. And we're going to have some nummy noms. And that's just in case construction drags out a bit, which, pro tip for this game, it will. Oh, and that's why you always pull a vacuum before you leave, because I've just vented all that to the cold atmosphere of Mars. Isn't that great? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to build a simple 3x3 room to get us started, and I will join you once I've laid the foundation. Okay, I have laid down the foundation for our new room. Now we're going to put some walls up and begin making it airtight. So I'm going to just saw this down, place a frame in here like that, so we have a 3x3 floor. We are getting into the night, but what I'll continue doing just for this once is I will continue just to show you how to set up walls and how to make sure your room is an actual room. Because plenty of times I've gone to eat or drink or otherwise pressurize a room and found out it is not airtight in the slightest, and it vents all of my precious atmosphere to Mars, which is not really that nice. So I'm doing it in this particular way for a very good reason, and you'll see why in a moment. Okay, now we have a bunch of windows here, and one of the things with windows is that they can be quite difficult sometimes to tell, especially if we're building at night. Oh, we don't need that, we actually need iron sheets. So here we see we're going to build a frame. That's fine, right? And now we're going to fill the frame next to it with glass. Now, can you tell, honestly, which one is complete and which one's incomplete? You probably can't, and it happens quite often where you'll forget that, say, this one has no glass in it. You will then go to place some rocks down to pressurize the room, or you'll like open your helmet, eat and drink, only to find there's a vacuum in here, or near enough a vacuum. The pressure amount is quite low. So a simple trick to avoid that is only build what you can afford to build. And by that I mean don't bother filling in all these frames with iron, 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 iron if you don't have the glass to fill in right after it. So instead of just doing this and, you know, eventually running out of glass, let's say, and having to get some more glass, coming back, only continuing from here, we're going to alternate. We're going to do iron, glass, iron, glass. And once we run out of iron, we will stop, because I can tell what's going to happen. You will try to do it, you'll try to remember, and you might even be successful for a while. But there's always going to be a time where you mess up and you don't remember to do that, and you're going to pay the consequences for it. Just take it from someone with experience. So using that method, I'm going to seal up this room with the glass and the iron sheets, and I will meet you at the break of day again. So be right back. Okay, because I apparently suck at video editing, all I did between now and the last you saw me putting in the glass was remove the spaghetti pipes. I placed the active vent in the corner here, connected it with a pipe, and placed down a standard door. Not the glass door, the standard door. Okay, you're up to speed. Out the way, at least then we can stop worrying about it. So, with the airlock placed in the console, we are going to put the glass. We're going to just smush it on top. Don't ask how that makes a screen, but there you go. We are now going to get our sensors and our data disk. Now, we can place the sensor anywhere we want really, but just try and keep in mind that your cables are going to want to look, they don't have to look neat and tidy, but it'll save you a headache or two if you do kind of keep things somewhat organised. So, there we go. We're just connecting everything up to power. forget the airlock on the other side of the room. Oh, we're out of cables. So I'm just going to put some more cables on. Now, what are we actually going to do here? We're going to use this data disk to configure the ins and outs of the airlock. So let us tear up this door real quick, and we'll replace it with a far fancier electric door. We're going to want a hand drill, so let's pull that up. And we're not going to use glass because glass tends to get in the way of things, like it doesn't like the pipes over here. And glass is overall just kind of fussy, so we're just going to use the bog standard boring looking door. Now we're going to grab a very special tool that you will learn to love eventually, the labeler. Now I promise this will make sense in a moment, but you just have to bear with me. We are going to call this the int door, or the interior door, but I can't spell. We're going to call this the X door, or the exterior door. There you go, that's me not knowing how to spell. And we're just going to call this the just vent. There we go. Has anyone noticed my crucial oversight? We're not going to be needing this, so there's no point in building it. Okay, our inventory's getting kind of clogged, but that's fine. This is why you plan things, folks. We're going to leave the cable going to about there, and we'll just leave it there for now. There's no point carrying it about. So what we're going to do now is going to build up the two doors. So we're going to need plastic and our welding torch. And we're going to need our crowbar. We're just going to force these two doors open while we work on them. Oops. And now we're just going to wire everything together, remembering to bring our wire cutters out. Remember to try and keep things looking neat. You can make spaghetti if you want, and it will work. It's just, it'll save yourself a lot of headache down the line. Okay, that's that. Now we can configure our airlock. So we'll have a look. It's asking for a gas sensor, so we've already got one hooked up, so we're going to select the gas sensor. We've got the vent. Now pay attention to these next two. There is a reason we labelled these the way we did. It wasn't just for fun. So it's asking for which door will be the exterior door. Now we've labelled this one to be exterior door, so we're going to select this one first. As you notice, they're both exterior, so we could unintentionally, if you're not paying attention, label this as our exterior door, which would be very not good. So there you go. And now it's asking for our interior door. As a rule of thumb, it's always going to ask what your exterior door is first, and then we pull it out, and there you go. We have our little airlock. And there you go. Now this will just cycle through and through. Now the downside to the basic airlock is that you can't really customize it very much. At least not without tinkering. So what we're going to do is we're going to use our mining belt. We're going to pull out the ices from earlier, and we're just going to let it fill the room up. And if we just check our handy dandy tablet, you can see that we have quite a lot of oxygen and a fair bit of pollution as well, so we might get a warning or we might not. I think we might get a warning if we open our helmet. No, we don't. Oh, in that case we don't need to do anything else. We now have a breathable room and we can rest easy for the moment. There you go. That is a basic airlock, and you know, a room to go along with it, because an airlock is quite useless without a room. I think you know that much. Um, that'll end this tutorial for now, because I've rambled on a fair bit, and yeah, hopefully this will get you started with the newest update, and yeah, thanks for watching.